Not very often, but sometimes I've played when I've been angry, and it's generally a bit more aggressive.
Well, I think one of the things actually when you play acoustic, I mean, obviously we go to the open mics, Driscoll Tavern and La Palma, and with the open mic, because it's not a gig as such, you can choose what you want to play, and I find that very useful. If I am feeling a bit angry, you get certain songs and you can just rip into them, like even just acoustically.
Yeah, definitely.
So
yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of songs that they're kind of angry sometimes. I mean,
because there's different levels, right? You've got, like, obviously there's examples of famous musicians who are clearly tortured, or famous artists, famous writers, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I mean they're using it almost as a necessity. I mean, we were talking about Hendrix earlier. I've watched a lot of documentaries and read a lot about Hendrix, and it seemed like he carried the guitar around him basically as a safety blanket or as something. Because does anyone actually need to play guitar all day? You don't necessarily need to. He used to bring it to the toilet, and
I think he took it into the toilet because he liked the sound of
that is true. Yeah,
the echo of
great
the walls
acoustics in
like
the toilet.
That.
That's true. Yes.
So I don't know if it was as a kind of protective thing or just because he just loved playing it and he wanted to play it constantly.
People say he used to carry it around like all day, all the time. And in fact, someone said, I think it was Eric Burden, but I may be wrong, who said they saw him at a party without a guitar and they knew he was in trouble.
Well, was that shortly before he died?
Maybe, yeah, probably about a year or so before he died.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I mean, leaving aside those kind of people who kind of need to do that, I think music can really, whether you like it or not, can play with your emotions, or you can use your emotions to influence it.
Definitely. I mean, if you can hear a song and it brings certain emotions, whatever they may be. I mean, people always associate songs with different times in their life or something, with different feelings, and songs are very much connected with emotions.
And the same with sort of actors and everything. I mean, I'll just give you a very quick story about Orson Welles when he made Citizen Kane. And of course he was only 25 or something like that, and he was the director, co-writer and the main actor. And he was getting hassled from everyone. He was working 16, 17-hour days, and right at the end of that film, for people who know that film, there's a scene where the older Kane smashes a room up, and Orson Welles just said, "Oh, I just felt that, all this pent-up tension and stress and everything," and and he really, it was really authentic. And I'm sure it's the same with music, as you said, when you're angry or you're tense, it's just this amazing release. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it can work to your advantage and it comes out well. Other times, I find if you're angry and you've got a lot of pent up emotion, then it can affect your playing in a more negative way, because maybe you're putting too much anger into it and it doesn't come across very well.
Actually, the one thing I wanted to talk to you about, do you ever get nervous? I don't know if we've mentioned this already. Did you ever suffer from nerves at the beginning? Or not?
I think, when I first started, I got a bit nervous sometimes. Occasionally, I get nervous now if it's kind of a gig that's a bit more important or something. Not really nervous, but just before we go on, I suddenly kind of think, oh shit.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes being nervous is actually a good thing, because it means you focus a bit more.
Yeah, well, I hate to plug my blog post again, but I did write a blog post recently called "Creativity, Common Experience and Mental Health," and it was about creativity. Obviously, as part of it.
Yeah.
And we had an acting teacher who said, "Learn your lines well, but don't learn them too well. You've got to leave a bit of edge."
Yeah, definitely.
And we didn't really thank him when we were doing like a 4-hour Shakespeare play, but I saw what he meant in other contexts.
Yeah.
So I suppose, you don't want to learn songs to death, do you? Want to leave it slightly open.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I like it when something is a bit under-rehearsed and there's like you say, a bit of edge to it.
But the handy thing with music is you can get away with it far more than like lines from a script. So that's the great thing about music. When you've been playing a while, when we had a great experience the other night. Playing with this young lady. We played, me and Bobby McGee. You all basically knew the song. Yeah. But there was kind of, it was loose, and everyone picked up on it. People who heard it, they said, "Oh, we like the looseness of it."
Yeah, I mean, I think looseness in music is often, it creates interest. Like the Rolling Stones, to mention them again, that's a perfect example. They're
Yeah.
very loose, and they're kind of, one of them's maybe playing like a bit ahead of the beat, one of them's playing behind the beat,
Yeah.
but it kind of works when it's all together.
Yeah, they're actually, to be honest, they're quite sloppy. Like considering they've been around for 50 years, but now they're known for it. I mean, like, who cares?
Yeah.
It's good enough vibe.
Yeah.
I have a sort of psychology background. I have this very irritating curiosity about people. You probably realise that.
Right. Okay.
No, you seem very calm all the time. I'm sorry. I was talking about this with someone, and we were talking about energies, because some people have, like me, for example. I can kind of drift away for an hour, and then I'm suddenly really enthusiastic. Like a child, basically. You seem to have this kind of calm. Are you basically a calm person? And
yeah,
what's the secret?
I mean, I don't think there's any secret. I'm just calm. I mean, obviously I get angry and I get pissed off sometimes, but I'm generally kind of content and happy, and
good for you.
Yeah. I mean,
so why are you playing music
then?
Why are you playing music then? Yeah. All right. All right. You wanted to talk a bit about the music scene in Madrid. Now, the scene that we're involved in, or well, I know you from, that I've mentioned on the other interviews, is basically these two open mics, and it's mainly expat, but there are a few Spanish people that we know.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly expats, kind of British, American people, or Irish people as well. Mm-hmm, yeah. Shouldn't lump the Irish in with the British.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And a few Spanish people. But yeah, it's quite. I mean, it's basically just two open mics, and then a few things here and there, like at the Toast Cafe. And
Toast Cafe.
That's quite popular with everyone. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm not really sure what to make of kind of more. I'm not sure what to make of Spanish bands, really.
Is that Spanish rock bands or?
Yeah, well, Spanish rock more so, I suppose. I mean, it's very rare that I hear something that I actually think is really good. I mean, the most I could say for lots of things I hear is just kind of, it's okay. Yeah. But it's very rare that I hear something like some Spanish music and I think, wow, that's really good.
Yeah, it's this kind of generic sound, That's what I call Bon Jovi.
Yeah, a lot of it sounds like
you kind of might know it's Bon Jovi, but it could be lots, or Scorpions, like.
Yeah, kind of like, kind of, what do you call it, like the hair bands, I think, or cock rock or something, whatever the term is.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, Italy and Spain, they both seem to love the 80s. Whereas in England, I mean, people like the other 80s, kind of the Cure and the Smiths and all that kind of thing. Yeah. But they don't really like the commercial 80s.
80s rock isn't that popular in England. Maybe in Norfolk it's quite popular. We mentioned that before, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know why it sounds how it does. I think maybe... I suppose if you think of like popular culture in England and America, a lot of it is influenced from... Well, the original influences are from like the 50s and the 60s for the culture and music. And those decades didn't really happen in Spain. I think the first decade where they fully embraced popular culture, or when they were able to embrace it, was the 80s. And I don't know if that's part of the reason why. That's
interesting.
Why the music sounds how it does. I don't know.
I mean, because of the politics, because of Franco. Yeah, right. I wonder if it's the same in Italy. I mean, why would they be so interested in the 80s? Aren't they? I wonder if in Italy I know Italy a bit because I've got Italian family, and there's a real obsession with image, and when you watch TV, every other advert is just some guy slicking his hair back or whatever.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they like the quote unquote style. I would put style in quotes for the 80s, but maybe they like that.
Maybe yeah. Yeah, sometimes when I hear some music here, I feel like people are thinking about it too much, and they're not. They're playing more from their head rather than from their heart. Sometimes I feel. It's the same with blues as well. I feel like I've been to a few blues bars here and some jam sessions, and there's a lot of really good musicians, but just the general sound of it to me is it's kind of like a sanitized version. It's clean and it's lacking any kind of raw, like rawness, and I prefer things a bit dirtier, really.
I used to live in Thailand as well.